The numbers continue to be stark in the United States. 3.5 million cases, over 137,000 dead. And the battle over data continues. Remember, the U.S. government had talked about moving the data from the Centers for Disease Control over COVID to Health and Human Services here in Washington. It looks like now those worries about transparency when it comes to COVID data may be gone for now. The CDC is actually apparently putting those numbers back on its website, but still the political battles continue, from schools reopening to a federal plan to a state's plan. These are the words of a Republican governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, one of the states that borders Washington, D.C. This was clear that waiting around for the president to run the nation's response was hopeless. If we delayed any longer, we'd be condemning more of our citizens to suffering and death. So every governor went their own way, which is how the United States ended up with a patchwork response. Patchwork is a very good word, as states from Texas to Florida to Arizona and Georgia and others with spiking cases all are having differing responses to whether they close bars, restaurants, wear masks or not. And this is confusing a lot of people. You know, Miami has been really hard hit with the resurgence. Listen to the city's mayor.
But we need a long-term plan, which is what I've said, right? We need a long-term plan to determine, because we can't be opening and closing and stopping and starting. There has to be a long-term plan, and that's also something that we need to develop over the course of the next few days.
So we'll have to see what happens over the next few days. We do see some leveling off of cases in some areas, but hospitalizations continuing to grow as well. The U.S. Hasn't even prepared for the second wave, and the first wave has just been awful. The silver lining, perhaps, is in retail sales numbers this month for June. 7.5% jump. That actually puts retail sales back in the black for 2020, although establishments like restaurants and bars, of course, are suffering terribly. And also weekly jobless claims, 1.3 million, pretty much the same as last week. People expecting this V-shaped recovery need to look no further than the unemployment mess in this country. It's going to take a lot longer to get back, not helped by the spike in COVID cases. Nathan King, CGTN at the White House.